Good afternoon, ladies and gents, and welcome to the Gentleman's Debate once again. What episode are we on now?
That'll be number 13.
13?
I think 13.
Number 13. And we've got the whole gang back together this week. We've got me, which is Sam. We've got Simon and Mickey. Say hello, guys.
Hello, you beautiful people.
Hello there, nice to meet you. I have changed my accent because I've just come back from Macedonia again. So
Again? Did you go for a third time?
I went twice.
Oh, I know you went the second time.
Oh, yeah. I don't know if we did a podcast after the second time we went. But
Yeah, we did one during.
Yeah, we
mentioned it.
did.
Yeah. Right, guys. So today we have to talk about obviously the incredible night that me and Simon went to in Huddersfield, which was last night on the what date are we on? The 7th of October. Recording today on the 8th of October, and that was Niko's fight night. We had a really, really good time. Watched some great fights. We'll be talking about that in depth as much as we possibly can.
Yeah, telling everyone about the action and also some of the funny stories.
Oh yeah.
Whilst we were there.
Whilst we're there, and after
stories.
it finished as well.
There's some good stories. Oh Lord, that's going to be something good. That's going to be something good to talk about. Believe me.
Whilst doing some plug-in for them as well.
Yes, some secondary sort of return on investment with their advertising, eh?
So yeah, if you're interested to hear what that's about, make sure you do stay tuned. We've also got the our usual MMA and boxing news stories that we'll talk to you about that's gone on during the weeks, and a bit of football for you because it's the international break. So yeah, we'll talk about that. But yeah, so what shall we start on?
Well,
Niko's fight night.
Yeah, we'll start with Niko's fight night, seeing as that was the big event.
I want to hear this now.
You were away for family stuff, but it was absolutely fantastic. Really enjoyed it. Basically what happened was we've been in conversation with an MMA promotion here in Yorkshire called Cage Steel. Which for anyone who's listened to the podcast, I thoroughly recommend watching their events, just because they're always a good production value. The quality of it and the fights are always good. I mean, there's finishes inside of there with like twisters and excellent submissions, knockouts, etc. But basically, Cage Steel are helping out a promoter in Huddersfield called Niko Jokia. Jokia, I think his surname was.
Yeah.
I might be butchering the pronunciation, but it's Gjoka. So for anyone, he's a little Albanian guy. Really nice bloke. Really nice bloke.
Yeah.
He basically organised it, got all the fights sorted. There's a few people who didn't compete, unfortunately.
Yeah, a couple of fighters dropped out, didn't
they? A couple of them did, which is a bit of a shame.
One fighter dropped out, obviously forcing that fight to be off.
Yeah.
And one of them, it said to be confirmed on the actual fight card.
Yeah, I've got the fight card here, actually.
Unfortunately, they couldn't get the
They couldn't match anything.
Yeah, so that one had to be pulled as well. But apart from that, every other fight on the bill went ahead.
Yeah, it was great.
And I do have the ordering here.
Oh, you actually took a note of it?
Got it all down.
Excellent, because I was thinking of trying to take notes throughout the entire thing, but I got too pumped up.
Oh yeah,
I lost my shit. If you see Cage Steel's Snapchat, you'll see there's one Snapchat where there's a really good knockout.
Yeah,
really good knockout, and all you're going to hear is me just go, oh!
And it was the caption on the
and
Snapchat.
The caption on the Snapchat on Cage Steel's Snapchat is me just going, oh! Because it was a damn good knock. Well, it wasn't a knockout, it was a knockdown.
Yeah.
It was a damn good left hook. Anyway.
Yeah, very, very good left hook.
But basically, we arrived in Huddersfield at the John Smith Stadium, which is where Huddersfield FC play. So that's their actual football, that's the football stadium. It's also where the Huddersfield Giants play, the rugby league team. And then we got taken upstairs by the guys who were running it. So shout out to Dominic Gibbs and Alex McReynolds. Basically, Alex is the lad who started talking to us on Twitter, and then we eventually had a meeting with these guys, and we discussed going and attending Niko's fight night, and also the Cage Steel event in December the 2nd.
Okay.
So going to the actual full MMA event, which obviously I'm a big MMA fan.
So that's the big one there. That's That's kind of a yearly thing, or?
No, it's more than. I think they try and do like 4 events a year.
Oh, okay.
I think they try to do 4 events a year. This one's like it's gonna have a much bigger audience, like 2,000 odd. I think the last time they had 2,000 people, and it was sold out in the Donny Dome. So it's in Doncaster, the Doncaster Dome, which is the big sort of like sports and leisure centre, which I've been to before for a karate competition. So it is quite big. So
I
it's
was
good
there for ice skating and swimming.
You little princess, you.
Not a competition, just enjoyed it.
Oh, okay. But yeah, the Niko's fight night was great. We walked in, got introduced to everyone. Shaking hands with people, seeing how people are doing. Told where we're gonna sit, where we're gonna be watching the action. Which literally was, you had where we were sat. We were at the back of the ring.
Yeah.
So you had the two. Basically, the way it was constructed was you had the ring in the center, and then you had two seating areas that were kind of long, like deep. They're both facing towards there. Then you had the door over there, and also that's where all the fighters would walk in and then go to the rings. And then we were at the back.
Yeah.
And we were sat to the left back of the ring. So if anyone's actually seen any of the photos out there, you'll see our happy little faces. Me and Sam just kind of shouting and screaming, just next to it, like yes. And then we were sat next to one judge, who's called Dave. I've forgotten his surname. Dave Mitchell, wasn't it? Yeah, absolutely fantastic bloke. Because he was talking to us, he was like, because he was saying to me like, oh, well, who do you think won after the decision? Well, and we were saying like, we thought this person won, we thought that person won, and he was like giving us feedback. It was like literally, I was sitting next to the judge.
He was the main judge.
He was the head judge, giving us all the insights and stuff like that to it as well. Then we had the main man, the Donny Dana, as I'm going to keep plugging that thing with Dominic, who sat to his right. So we had the guy running it, well, the main man there, to a cage steel just there. And then you had the two commentators who were commentating live over on the right-hand side. And they were two really nice lads. Quite dapper lads in the suits, weren't they? Mm. Yeah, and they were covering it there. They had the full setup going. And then we had basically some the other sort of staff behind us.
Yeah.
So we were as close to the ring as we could get. The only way we could have got closer is because we had a table, which was a fucking good idea to have a table there. But the only way we could have got closer is if they took the table away and we were sat underneath it, because we were that close and we were in next to one of the actual corners of the ring. Yeah. And some of the action was right up against there. So we were like literally
most of the fights
there.
It ended up in that corner, so we were quite happy with that.
Yeah, I was happy as hell with it. I was happy as hell with it. But
there's only one bit where I got splashed with sweat or blood or whatever it was.
Yeah, and then you decided to fucking spit on my chin later on that night. Well, we were just talking.
If I'm going to get covered, mate. Yeah.
We were just talking.
Elaborate on this.
Me and him were just talking midway through it, right?
You know, you accidentally spit on someone when you're talking because you've had a few beers and you're not salivating
that's totally
properly.
What it was.
Yeah, it wasn't
the way Simon put it when you decided to spit on my chin later on. Whoever wants to fight gets a sweater nose and he's spitting my chin.
Just watching these prime,
Let's not get into spitting on people, shall we, Mickey?
I promise you want to say that.
Oh Lord, a personal life bleeds into the podcast.
Let's gloss past over that before I go all these to death on you.
But yeah, it was great. I mean, and then when the fight started, I mean, the first fight, which I thought was brilliant,
which was
please bring it up.
Get it up.
Please bring up the lads.
Bring up the order.
The running order.
Mitchell versus Hines first.
Mitchell versus Hines.
Took the surnames down on this. Because,
you only took the surnames down? Fucking hell, you amateur.
Well,
Mitchell versus Hines. So it's Hamza Mitchell, and Dean Hines. Which was a 66 kilogram K1 bout. Which I was quite happy they opened up with a K1 bout. Because I think if they'd opened up with boxing, I don't know if I'd really have enjoyed it as much. Because you'd be like, oh, it's boxing. Cool. But the K1 is obviously...
Yeah, that's because,
it opens up... Because the K1... The rule set of K1 is unlike a lot of other stuff because it's a unique kickboxing rule set.
Yeah.
And basically means you can punch, kick, and knee. Can't elbow. You can't clinch. So you can't hold somebody in a clinch and try to knee them. You can only just standing knee them.
Similar to kickboxing rules, then.
Yeah, it is a form of kickboxing. It's just that, you have like most people go kickboxing and they think Muay Thai. Or they think just clean, like ISKA, an international something kickboxing association, who have completely different rules again. But the K1 rules are much more exciting. But I would have my opinion of kickboxing. And these lads, they put on a good first bout to get the crowd pumped up, which I was quite happy with. Who won that bout, was it? Was it Hamza Mitchell? Or was it Dean Hines?
I think it was Hines.
It was a split decision, wasn't it? A split decision for Hines.
The first one, yeah.
Yeah, split decision. So it was a close fight as well, which was good because it meant that there wasn't like a one-sided...
I think we had it, Hines just edged it.
Yes.
I think it was that he lost the first round and then it was the second two he sort of came back
Definitely the third one.
Yeah,
definitely the third one. He
was
came back
dominant
in
that third round.
Is that second round could have went either way, and that's why it was a split decision between the three judges.
First round was
Hamza Mitchell, which I could honestly, because he was pushing this lad back, and he was coming out all guns blazing. But I think he might have blown his wad early. Which is not a disgusting way of putting it.
Sorry, Hamza. Basically let him down. Yeah.
Well, I don't know. It's that obviously he was conditioned for the fight. So obviously he was used to, but he expended a lot of energy in the first round, which he didn't have the rest of his energy reserves for the second and then third.
That makes sense. Yeah.
So he basically wasn't able to perform at the same standard he did at the first round.
Yeah.
Whilst Hines didn't output the same amount in the first round, so he had the rest of his gas tank left. It's like when you do when you play Need for Speed, and then somebody will use their nitro. And then they'll use it too soon, and then you use your nitro.
You've got to have some speed to use the nitro.
Yeah, exactly.
To get
so that's what happened basically there. But
it's good knowledge of that.
It was a good enough for people who don't do boxing or kickboxing.
Wow, there's a lot of stroking going on recently, spitting on chins and stuff.
Yeah, massaging each other's egos.
Oh, that's great. That was really good, Simon. I love that. Yeah.
Jealous much, bro?
I'm not jealous. You could have spin this round on the Eastern Death. I don't get jealous.
Yeah, you could have.
I like how you're owning that now.
I am owning
the Eastern Death. See, I do compliment you as well, Mickey.
You do. Yeah.
What was the next bout we had? Was it boxing match?
Fight number 2 was Slimane versus Robinson, and that was boxing, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was an 80-kilogram boxing bout. I enjoyed that. Nice second. I enjoyed that. I did enjoy that round. I think it was a bit more. It was a good way of settling into the action.
Yeah,
because it wasn't like as much. I wouldn't say it was as much hammer and tongs as some of the other bouts that happened later on. But I did enjoy it. It was much more of a kind of technical fight, in my opinion.
Yes, yeah,
much more technical. I thought around about it. And who took that one? Was it Robinson?
I am trying to remember.
I think it was Robinson.
I think
Ryan
it was
Robinson.
Yeah. Can I just have a look at
sure.
The card? I remember when I see yes, it was Ryan Robinson. Yeah.
Because he was the lad with the white boxing trunks on. They had Robbo, wasn't it? It was Robbo. He had his nickname.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, and he had the shaved head.
Yes.
I thought he was. Was he the lad who was quite pumped? That was getting really pumped up, or was that another lad?
No, that was another lad.
Admittedly, that guy when he was didn't he get a cut on the top of his head? Got a cut on the top of his head.
Which one? Ryan
Robinson. Yeah.
Robinson. Yes, he did.
He did.
Yeah,
I noticed that.
He got the cut.
He got the cut on the back of his head, and I was like, "What the hell happened there?"
Because that was at the end of either the first or the second round, and that's when we thought, "Ooh, maybe there might be something in this for that might be where Slimane can now go out of control." But
I don't know. I think maybe it would actually. What the hell are you doing? Have you hooked up the microphone to your jumper, you pleb? You fucking idiot.
Here we go. I was trying to reach my phone. Luckily, there's no video evidence of this. So
it's not like Josh is. By the way, we'll interrupt this now. For anyone who this episode of the podcast is being recorded with a video system or a camera setup that our good friend Josh Simpson is doing for us. Now, obviously, no one can see Josh right now. Say hello, Josh. Just heard you.
Come in front of the camera.
He just literally comes in front of the camera.
Who is this giant?
Why is he so large compared to us?
That's the goddamn biggest head I've ever seen.
Yeah, so with the podcast, we're basically thinking about making sure that there's going to be video content for it as well, because we are very mindful of the fact that you can hear our beautiful voices in stunning quality. However, you don't get to see our lovely faces and see what our hands do, for example, or when Mickey decides to fucking tie up his jumper to the microphone hook.
Well, in all fairness, you guys didn't see that.
Well, we fucking saw it when I saw Sam looking at you like you're a fucking weirdo. We can view the
instant replay later on.
Yeah.
And there's 2 fucking cameras that saw you do that.
Well, it happens at the end of the day. What can I say?
Nothing. That's what it is. Right. Let's keep going.
Yes, so we will move on now to was a 87 kilogram K1 fight between Jack Feathian.
I think it was Fathian, if I had to pronounce it fully.
And Ashley Haig.
Oh, Ashley, was this the guy I called Milkman? The Milkman?
No, that was a boxing one. That's the next one after that.
No, I thought it was.
You guys are making some enemies right now.
No. Because the reason why I called it because when he walked out because he was the lad who was actually decent. Like he was actually quite good.
Yeah, I'm sure that was a boxing.
No, it wasn't boxing.
Milkman.
Because I'm not
Was
sure.
Milkman the Fonz?
No. The Milkman wasn't Fonz. The Fonz was different. So it was the Milkman. So they called him the Milkman, right? The reason why it was Ashley Hay, you said?
Haig.
Ashley Haig. When he walked out... Sorry, Fathian had already got into the ring. The best bit about Fathian was he had a top knot and a full beard. And apparently one of the lads was saying that while they were shooting, like taking photos of him getting warmed up, he was flicking his top knot. Which isn't a euphemism, apparently. we made a joke out of it. We were laughing, and they were like, "No, he literally was flicking his top knot." But anyway, the guy who I nicknamed the Milkman was because when he came out with like the nicest smile I've ever seen in my life. He was so happy. He was like, "Yeah," and I was like, "It's like he's coming." You know, like if you ever had a milkman come to your door.
Ages ago.
There's
no more milkmen now.
There's unfortunately, yeah. But then I remember. Look, when a milkman used to come to our house, he'd have the containers with the bottles in, and he'd walk up your drive.
Yeah.
And he was like the happiest man in the world. He's like, yeah.
Of course he is. He's having an affair with your wife.
Well, this is the joke we made around about Ashley Haig. Like when he came out, he was like totally. And I thought like, oh, this guy's been like, he's not like pumped up. He's not like got like a laser focus. He's not like concentrating. He's not like an aggressive way. He's he was quite relaxed. He was quite jovial, quite happy. Then when he got in, his skill set was fucking amazing. His range of kicks was amazing. He had a very good inside leg kick. Very good inside leg kick against Fathian. We were like, oh, Fathian's going to take this on pure at the beginning because we thought Fathian was taking it a bit more seriously.
Yeah.
And fucking the Milkman, he took it to him.
Milk the milk.
He milked Fathian.
That's not your job. That's your job.
Oh Lord, it was fantastic. Like his ranges of kicks were really good.
Yeah,
he was putting it against Fathian quite a lot, and he was hitting him with punches. I think Fathian was better in the boxing exchanges. However, I think Hay was actually putting all of his stuff together better. So his punches and kicks were all chained together quite well. So he was having a lot of success going up and down Fathian's body. Whilst Fathian, I think most of his attacks basically were to the head. And like some of it wasn't connecting. And when Haig would set up like his punches with a low kick, he'd set up with a low kick and then he'd go high with his punches. And you could see, because there was a bit when he was against the corner where we were, and you could see Fathian's head was getting pushed back and rocked back by the different punches. So... in all honesty, Ashley Haig surprised us.
Yeah.
It was a split decision. Was it a split decision or a decision win by Fathian?
It was split decision.
It's a split decision to Fathian. And I was like, I thought Haig took it. In all honesty, I thought
he did, yeah. I was quite surprised by that result.
Yeah, I was, because I thought Haig took it to him, because he was putting it on him quite a lot, and Fathian was a bit more like... I think Fathian was a bit like, fuck, what the hell's this? What's going on?
Yeah.
I should be putting this guy away. I should be dominating, but like...
Well, overconfidence kind of killed him. Like Fedor Emelianenko's like chronic, so when he goes on and goes on to the stage, he's just like the calmest person in the world. He just looks like he's going to get milk.
Hey.
But he just goes in and they say he's known for before the fight to play cards, chilling out in his dressing room. He just doesn't get at all angry in any way or any like psyched up. But when he's so fluid when he goes into the the MMA fight, he can just knock people out because he's just not tense and doesn't have all those hormones just like making him go.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I'd agree with you there.
Schizophrenic.
I would agree. It was.
So you have to look at it does tell you a lot when someone walks into the ring, the way they walk in. Sometimes it's a sign of fear when someone goes in like, yeah, I'm gonna go.
Well, it is fear. I mean, it's a scary thing when you go in there.
And then someone who doesn't have that must obviously have some reason for not actually. Maybe it's like a weird mutant freak, or maybe he just like, oh, I've done this so many times. And
I didn't think. I think it was his. Was it his debut? Was it Haig's debut?
I think so. Yeah.
It was his debut.
No, sorry, it was. I think it was Fathian's. Fathian.
I think it said Fathian.
I think it was his debut.
Fathian's the milkman.
No, Haig's the milkman.
Yeah.
Haig's the milkman.
Oh,
It sounds so weird when I put it, but like he looked. The way I would think of it is he looked like a milkman coming up your drive, and then but then the way I put it is he coming up the drive to fuck your wife.
You said that in a really, really scary.
The best part about that fight though was when the action really started to happen in the second or the third round when they were really going for it.
Yeah.
And all you could hear was Simon sat next to me going, "Go on, Milkman! Go on, Milkman! You can do it, Milkman!
Go on, Milkman! Go on!" That's what I was saying. I was shouting it all the way. And obviously, that's not his nickname.
No, it
so I was like, no one knows. And
yeah.
I think some of the people behind me were like, "What the fuck's this guy saying?" But I was like, "Look," and I said to Alec, because he leant over me, he was like, "Why are you calling him the Milkman?" And I was like, "Look at him. Look at it. The way he walked in, he was like so chilled and so happy."
Do we still have milkmans nowadays?
No, well, we kind of do. We kind of do.
For our younger viewers, a milkman was a man or a woman who used to drive around with
an electric milk float
full of milk and deliver it straight to your door instead of you having to go to the shop and get it.
Yes, very much so. You used to get a glass bottle.
Yep.
And then what would happen is once you use the glass bottle up, then you'd leave it on the doorstep. And then when he came back, he'd pick up the glass bottles, and then he'd bring you 2 new bottles of milk.
I don't know, like that's something that I'd want back.
I want that back. It'd be great.
I'd want the milkman.
But it'd be like an Amazon drone.
Yeah, there's too many regulations.
Mickey.
Now. Like,
how are you?
You would have to knock on the door and say, "I am not anyone." Like,
maybe we're onto something here.
I am not recording this. Do you want your data not to be stored? Do you want the right to not be remembered? I am Amazon. It's a fairly good robot voice, I think.
Is Amazon just a robot?
Amazon.
Is that when Amazon becomes sentient?
Yes. When
it no
Alexa
longer
takes
becomes
over.
a website. It becomes sentient. It creates its own robot body.
Amazon is Skynet.
Out of spare drone parts that just got chucked in the warehouse.
Amazon it will become Skynet.
There actually is a Skynet.
Oh, don't fucking say that to me.
Yeah, no, was it Elon Musk has made a company, Neuralinks, and like the offices there, they're called Skynet.
There's an actual company called Skynet.
No, it's not the skunk works where they create the artificial intelligence. It's called Skynet.
You know, Elon Musk is he's shit scared of AI. He is. Shit scared of AI. And I remember...
So is Stephen Hawking, so is anyone who's got any sort of...
Bill Gates is as well.
Yeah, because their entire thing is
Well, every test of AI we've had so far, they've always gone wrong in some kind of way, where they've been like, we want to kill.
No, there's the one that went racist.
There's one that went racist.
Microsoft Tay went racist on Twitter.
There's one that wanted to commit suicide.
There's the Japanese one that wanted to kill itself.
Yeah.
Because it was programmed to be a Japanese schoolgirl, and then it wanted to kill itself. And then there's the one that Facebook made where it communicated with another AI, and then they started making their own language, and they shut it down because they got scared.
Yeah, whenever you fill an artificial intelligence, whenever they've done it full of big data from the internet, they just tend to go a weird sort of crazy. It reflects how the internet is in general, the entirety of it. We plaster all our kind of like most sadistic thoughts.
Yeah,
and stuff like that. And there's a machine that'll collect all that, and it will make sense of it in some way or another. And this is the problem. The thing about humans is we've got instincts and hard coding. So when we're growing up and kids and stuff like that, whenever if your parents are smiling at you, usually, I've done something good. Or if they're angry at you, you can tell those facial expressions. Robots can't. They don't know what's good and what's bad. And this is the difference between humans and robots that needs to be addressed. Hard coding needs to be put in place to basically teach robots, okay, that's bad, ignore or categorize, that's good. They don't have that. They're just like, I have all this information. I want to kill everything.
Oh, shit.
I am everything there is.
And my name is Amazon.
Amazon
I, for
must
one,
destroy.
welcome our future overlord robots. Robot overlords, as you will.
If Amazon is listening to this...
If you think spitting on each other's chins is the worst it'll get, you have nothing.
Mate,
yeah.
Mate, all I know is that robots don't like water. And Sam knows how to spit on people's chins.
It's funny, but when the robots rise, I am humanity's only hope, basically.
They don't like magnets. They'll give you magnets.
You just
Take that, drone. I don't know. Oh,
let's go back to Niko's fight night away from spitting on robots.
Yes, bout number 5, and this was Kieran Little versus Scott Harper. Scott Harper was he the Fonz? Who was the Fonz?
Oh no, I don't think it was the Fonz. I don't think he was the Fonz, was he?
Do
Harper was
explain.
the Fonz.
Because at the moment it's kind of like, when there's two people that have been to the same school together.
Yeah.
And like, oh, do you remember that? Do you remember this? And I'm like, what? What is it? So just elaborate a bit more.
Oh, was it Scott Little who was right? So basically,
Kieran Little.
Kieran Little, sorry.
Yeah.
So it's Kieran Little against Scott Harper.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Scott the Fonz Harper.
Let me bring up the old Instagram.
So basically, the Scott Harper, the Fonz, he picked that as his nickname. He must like the Fonz. Fonz is all right as a Happy Days character.
Again, you really wouldn't pick it in a fighting game.
I don't know. He's fucking all right at it, to be honest. This is the guy. You know what I said about the left hook earlier, where he dropped the lad,
Yeah.
and the lad just popped back up.
Yeah? Was this the guy?
Yeah, it was a fucking clean left hook. That's the one where I was like, fuck! Because it was a damn good left hook. Damn good. He was, I think he was being coached by Danny Mitchell. Danny Mitchell, who runs AVT, Asylum Valley Tudo, near Leeds. I think it's near Leeds. It used to be in Thorn, which is a little place just outside of Leeds. They've moved gym recently. He was coaching him and in the corner. And the reason why I bring up Danny Mitchell is because we kind of just bumped into him and shook hands and said hello. But Danny Mitchell, you kind of go, oh, what's the significance of Danny Mitchell? Danny Mitchell was Yorkshire's probably premier mixed martial arts fighter for a long time. He fought in a lot of the local promotions. He fought in BAMA, for example. BAMA, British Association of Mixed Martial Arts, biggest one in Britain. Then he fought in the UFC. Mixed career in the UFC. Then he was cut from the UFC, and then he was in Bellator, and he scored a twister in Bellator. So a twister is a submission. It's essentially is a spine lock. It's a pretty horrific way of submitting somebody. Basically, what happens is you're in the position. If anyone who does Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu or any sort of grappling will understand this. If you have somebody's back, so you're on the back of the person. Imagine they're in the turtle position where they're down on the floor, on all fours.
Do you lift their legs up?
No. So what happens is he would take the back. He'd have his hooks in. He'd then try to roll it so that Danny was on his back. So you had the person on him. So that he's trying to maybe go for the neck, try to go for a rear naked choke, that position.
Yeah.
But instead of doing that, what you do is you take the person's right or left arm and you pull it behind your head. So it's like you're side onto each other like that.
Yeah.
And then what you do is then you grab the other person's head, preferably towards the top of their head, and pull their head like that. So you see the way my neck is constricting?
Yeah.
So what happens is basically you're trying to break their neck. Because you're twisting, you're doing this with their spine, so their spine isn't straight, it's twisted round, and then their head is being wrenched to twist the top of the spine. It's horrific. I've had that done to me down when I trained in Bournemouth in Ippon Gym. Never had a twister done to me before in my life. That was the quickest tap I've done in my entire life.
Was it painful?
It's fucking horrendous. It's such a hard submission to pull off. But it is damn insane.
Effective.
And when I saw that in Bellator, I was like, oh. But yeah, that basically Danny Mitchell. So the reason why is whenever I saw one of his fighters come out, I knew that there was some pedigree behind it. And this lad, Scott the Fonz Harper, had a clean...
I don't think he was the Fonz. The Fonz was wearing white shorts. Scott Harper was wearing black. I've just got it up on Instagram here. Because he was the winner. This is the boxing bout where it was the good left hook that floored him.
Yeah, which was the guy then?
That got floored?
No, the guy who was punching.
Harper was the one who gave the left hook.
So we were right when we're saying he's the Fonz?
No.
Yes.
No, that was a different fight.
No, that was the one. The Fonz was the one with the... Yeah, I remember.
Maybe I was right then.
Yeah, you were right. Fucking hell. We were at the same fucking event and you can't... Oh. So Scott Harper basically almost stopped Kieran Little with some amazing left hooks. He set up his jab really early, managed to piston out the jab. And once he'd measured with his lead hand,
Yeah.
that's why he was able to land the left hook, because his left hand was ready to go.
Because Scott Harper was the one with his little kid.
His little kid.
Yeah.
There's another little, because he had a young lad with him in the corner, and the young lad, whilst the fight announcer was announcing the blue corner, which was where Kieran Little was, the little kid was like, I was like, these kids are fucking savage. I loved it. It reminds me, I saw one where there was a boxing match where they're doing the weigh-ins, and one of the guys had brought his son with him to the weigh-ins. Yeah. It was like like for the IBO or IBF World Championship, and then they were weighing up, and they're both like doing this, and then the little kid kind of got into the area where all the fighters were, coaches and everything.
I think I saw that. Punched him in
the dick. He punched the other guy in the dick, and like the guy who did the guy who got punched in the dick was like, oh, okay. But he was going to be like, I'm going to fuck that kid up. I'm going to fuck that kid up.
Little knee to the head.
It was horrendous. But that, like, how many times did he drop him in that fight? 3, 4?
Three times, but the third one, I think, was the final one. And the ref called it.
Yeah, that was...
because that last one, that was a hard hit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you knew it was coming.
That was it, but it was a very, very good fight. And what I liked about that fight, I remember, I did note it down, the sportsmanship between those two was absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. Because it was on that first knockdown that when Harper knocked Little down for the first time, Little got back up, and he had that smile as if to say, oh, fucking hell, that was hard. And they touched gloves, and they just shared a little laugh between them both, and I was like, that's good to see.
Yeah,
I really do enjoy that. Because it's funny as well when you see it, because it's that mutual little respect of, that was a good hit.
It was a brilliant hook.
So I appreciate that. We can have a little laugh before we start to try and maul each other again.
Bludgeon each other to death.
But yeah, no, it was
I was impressed with that. I think that Scott Harper, if he continues on, he just needs to... I think the only thing I had was he set up his left hand quite early on, so he established his jab early, which led him to be able to know where his left hand would land to be able to hit him with a hook.
Yeah.
But his right hand wasn't going off the same as his left hand was. So I think maybe the only thing he needs to really work on in the future would be the distancing of his right hand. Like that would be once that, because then he's got both. Once you've got both hands in boxing, once you have both hands that you can knock somebody out with, you have power inside with, it means that you're going to be so much more dangerous, because they're going to have to worry about two things coming at them. Because a stiff jab and then a big right hand afterwards could knock me out. Or it could be a lead left hook could knock me out. I'm having to think about both of these things coming at me at the same time.
Instead of just like a haymaker or like...
Yeah, instead of just a left hook. If it was just a left hook, all you're going to do is, I'm just going to keep my guard up on that side. On my right side, I'm going to keep that guard up so you can't... Or I'm going to make sure I slip to the side.
So it's a lot better to be like a more kind of like...
Well-rounded, yeah. It's like... The best way I'd put it is a Swiss Army knife you can do so much with. But the issue you've got is, like, if you just bring a knife, all you can really do is you use the knife. But, sometimes you need to get a stone out of a horse's shoe.
Yeah, but you can also bring a knife to a gunfight, and as long as
admittedly, when he did unload that left hand, it was like somebody had just... It literally was like, Kadoosh! The way he slipped it, the best bit was he slipped it. So he circled his head down. And then as he came back round and up, that's when he uncorked the left hook, which was perfect technique. Loved it. Yep. Very good. Compliments to the Fonz.
Yes, indeed. The next fight was quite an interesting one. It was the K1 bout, and it was Nath Thompson versus Ross Leggett. For 70 kilograms. This was the lad who...
was it the Nate Thompson was the lad who was wearing the white Jayco shorts? Yeah.
Who?
So it was Nate Thompson versus who again?
Ross Leggett.
Ross Leggett. Ross Leggett was the really he was quite wiry, quite long.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I remember.
Yeah.
It was a good performance from Nathan Thompson. Sorry. It was a good performance from him. Was a good performance.
It was one of those though where, because we were saying during that fight, we were like, he could have finished him off a lot sooner, but he looked like
he could have put him away.
Yeah, he wanted to prolong it, and he wanted to showboat a little bit, and his corner did not like it. Because it was the one where he had his hands up like that a couple of times.
Yeah, I know that.
And because even his corner was saying stop that, but he kept doing it, and he seemed like he wanted. I mean, I can understand wanting to make a little bit of a spectacle of it. I can understand
Makes
that.
it more marketable in the future.
Yeah,
I can't be mad about that. But the thing is, if he had done that, if he'd done the showboating and then had put him away, that would have been like a good sort of stamp on. That would have been a really good stamp on him for the next event of being possibly on the main, being the main event, getting more money. Like, if he's interested in getting bigger fights and earning more money, then him starching people, putting them away, and showboating, or just doing the ability of just knocking people out, would have been perfect. And I think he had the exact tool set he needed to be able to put Ross Leggett away. I mean, he had a very good range of kicks.
Yep.
Low kicks, fantastic. He had a spin. He uncaught a spinning back kick, which was
did it
very
twice,
good.
didn't he?
Yeah, it was very good. Very
I think
good.
the first one he landed, the second one he just maybe
missed
not
him.
missed,
Yeah.
but it didn't connect as well as what the first one did. But it was a very, very good performance by him.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I thought so.
Regardless of the showboat and what you think, some people like it, some people don't. In a thing like that, I just didn't mind the showboating, to be honest. But it was a very, very good performance from him.
The best bit was Nate Thompson. He had a supporter. Do you remember, old man? Right, well, let's bring this up. I'll show you this because we recorded it on the Instagram story. I'm just going to show you. Basically, Nate Thompson, he had a gentleman who was supporting him. There he is, dancing away to Rihanna. He was dancing away to Rihanna whilst his... I don't know if he was related to him. I hope he was. But yeah, he was just basically dancing away.
It would have been funny if he was related to it. If he wasn't, sorry.
Yeah,
he was just
if he was
at the front,
no association with him whatsoever.
He was at the front of one bit, and then obviously he was in the blue corner was Nate Thompson, which was on the opposite side.
Yeah,
and he walked round after the fight to give him a hug. And it was just like, we hope he's related. Well, we hope he at least knows the guy.
I was like, the security guard's going to fuck him up. I thought security, but no, he must have known him. No, he must have known him. It was fucking good though. I was hoping that Nate Thompson would have actually put him away, because I think that would have been a really good seal on it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think he let Ross Leggett continue in the fight when he could have stopped him completely.
Yeah.
Do you think that was more to give the people a show, or was it kind of?
I think but a show would have been him knocking him out clean.
Oh no, like maybe he thought I can knock this guy out, but it's like either.
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't think he put like.
Or was it more to do with the fact that he just wanted to get definite show, because you never know in a fight, he could the other guy, even if he's losing badly, could get a lucky punch in you.
Yeah, so I kind of get the idea of like he was just sticking to his game plan. He was just sticking to what he was successful at, and obviously he was successful at because he won. But when we were watching the fight, I think that we could definitely say if he just turned it up another 5-10% in terms of his output.
Yeah.
He probably would have been able to make every round either just completely definitive, so it's completely dominant, which would have been a great fight, or he could have knocked him out, or stopped him in some way. Yeah. I think he could have. He definitely stopped him. Yeah. I think Ross Leggett was quite. I mean, he was quite lucky to be left inside of there to compete. I'm not saying that Ross was a bad competitor at all. Not at all.
No.
Because he had a good range of kicks as well. They both had good ranges of kicks.
He had the reach.
He had reach as well. It's just that I think Nathan Thompson could have. But that's could have. Yeah. I mean, that's us with the gift of hindsight, basically.
Certainly want to watch.
Yeah, I want to see what will happen in the next event. What can he do?
Yeah.
I think he could put on an absolute demolition of somebody, in my opinion anyway. Next fight, and this is the one that I personally thought was the best fight of the night. Is it a boxing bout by any chance?
It was a
boxing bout. Hey.
80 kilograms fought at Daniel Scrappy Doo Huxtable.
Oh yeah.
Versus Kurt Malarkey.
I enjoyed that one as well.
And this was a good fight.
There's a good bit, because there's a good bit at the end as well, which I found quite funny.
But we'll start at the beginning with this one, because it was Malarkey who, when he came out into the ring, he was pumped. He was pumped.
He was fucking pumped up, man.
He was like a caged animal waiting
He was like
to
a
come
fucking
out
angry
of the traps
white gorilla.
and
That's what he was.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could tell he had his kill vision on.
The kill switch was engaged.
The kill switch was heavily
fully
engaged.
engaged.
And he had some. What I liked about this guy is he could put some combinations.
Yeah, it was very good quality. Very good quality
very
combinations.
Good quality. And then, to be fair to Mr. Huxtable, he fucking took a lot of it.
He's got a damn good chin.
Yeah, absolutely.
Damn good chin. Because I will say, he's got a damn good chin. Not so good with the teeth.
No, he literally had one of his teeth knocked clean out.
No,
Although it was one of his.
It was
it was a fake tooth.
Oh yes, yeah.
It's like one of those when
yeah.
it's already happened before, and he's had to have not an implant. What's the word?
Yeah, I know you like a filling. Like,
No.
No,
So
not
like
filling, just
like
an actual.
see, it's
a
like
fake tooth.
they put a fake tooth, literally. So imagine this tooth was knocked out.
Yeah.
They just put another tooth, and then they'd use a special way of fixing it in position.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Because it was knocked out, and then he spat it onto the ground in his corner, and then he picked it up and then handed it to his coach, who was Danny Mitchell. That was his cornerman.
Yeah.
And Danny had his glove, and it was on his hand like this, and it's like Danny was like looking at it like he was serving a fine like souffle. He was like, "Oh, what the hell am I doing here?"
He went and showed it to Malarkey after the
Yes, he
after the
did,
fight. It
yeah.
was like, "Cheers, mate."
Yeah.
And then he said afterwards, didn't he? Dan Huxtable, he was just like, "Oh, I'm off to 24-hour dentist now."
Yeah, and the best bit was, well, I don't know if this was the best bit, but apparently he hadn't trained for an absolutely long ages. He hadn't
I
trained for
didn't know that. I
ages.
didn't hear
Yeah,
that
Alex was
bit.
telling me he hadn't trained for ages, and he just got in the ring with him.
just kind
Yeah,
of
just agreed to fight him,
Yeah. But
which I thought was
the good thing about that, I mean, I think it was Malarkey's fight all three
good.
rounds, but Huxtable, he also gave a little bit because
Yeah,
that
he
was
did,
the one
yeah.
right in front of us in our corner.
that was a good back and forth because they switched round quite a lot.
Yeah,
kept going.
But it was in that third round. It was literally at the death of the third round. Huxtable caught Malarkey and sent his gun shield flying.
Oh yes, he did.
Yes,
He
yeah.
fired it and it span out of the whole ring.
Yep.
He sent his gum shield out of the ring. I was like, that's a damn good statement to
Yeah,
make. Admittedly,
absolutely.
you did lose one of your teeth. However, that's a good statement to make, I
Yeah.
think. But what I'd say is, Huxtable, get back training, son. I want to see Scrappy do again.
Yeah.
I want to see what he could do with a full length of training and see what he could do. Malarkey, I want to see him fight again because...
Definitely, yeah.
And against somebody who might have the same style, the same sort of grit down on the mouthpiece and just throw combinations.
Absolutely.
Because you put the two people of similar sort of talent together like that,
Yep.
you're going to see fireworks, and that's going to be an exciting one. And that's where he could really prove, one, that he has a good chin,
Yeah.
because I think that's what he needs to make his next statement on, that he has a chin, that he
Yep.
can take punishment and dish it out.
Yeah.
And he needs a good dance partner. I think Huxtable was a good dance partner for him, but I think he needs to get, the next level of...
Yeah. And I think that was actually his debut as well.
Was it his debut? Good debut.
Very good.
Very
Yeah.
good debut.
Like, guy's serious. You might see him in the future.
I want to see. Yeah, I'd love to see him again in the future. I think he'd be good at. I think he'd be good with other styles, not just boxing, but other stuff as well. He could be quite good at. Vicious hands.
Yeah. Yeah.
Was-
yeah. It was absolutely. It was lightning quick with them as well.
Yeah,
Wasn't he?
he was pumped. He was like you knew he wasn't there just to fall over and get 200 quid. He was there. He was there to win.
Yeah.
Which I was. Yeah, so I understand why you really enjoyed that one. I do understand why
Obviously,
you enjoyed that one.
from a big boxing fan.
You are a big boxing fan.
perspective.
I enjoyed that one as well because I think that one got a good amount of hype as well, and I think everyone in the crowd loved it as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Great spectacle. And then the next one was Gaz Atkinson versus Gareth Wall, another boxing in at 77 kilograms.
Yeah.
Also a good fight. And this is where Gaz Atkinson was winner by knockout.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Very, very good knockout. as
Yeah,
well.
I was a bit worried that we were only going to have one knockout, and it was going to be that one earlier on that we mentioned. But that
No,
was
we ended up having 3 in total.
that was a very
4. Sorry, we had 4.
that was
in
a
total.
very definitive,
Yeah.
very very good knockout, very clean. I enjoyed
Yeah.
that one. Yeah.
No. And then it was the penultimate fight was the K1.
Oh, was that with the head kick?
George Staines versus Jack Richie Rich.
Yeah.
At 68 kilograms. Yeah, you've got it down here. 4 knockdowns, 2 head kicks.
That was that was insane.
Yeah. This
That
was
some
another
really
one
good
where
head kicks.
it
Really
was
good head kicks.
Yeah.
it was a fairly, not short, but average height, stocky, well-built lad versus another guy who had quite a bit of another wiry frame as well.
Yeah.
It's quite interesting because, again, it was good technical skills versus good reach.
Yeah. Similar to the Nathan Thompson Leggett one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah.
Similar to that, where you basically are like, the size disparity might be a problem for the shorter guy, but then the short guy performed exceptionally well with a lot of good head kicks, and it was
very good head kicks. Yeah,
it was dexterity, and his hips was fantastic. He was going low. He was setting up a lot low, but the volume of head kicks he was throwing, he was always reminding him that he could kick him in the head.
Yep.
Always reminding him, and he landed it twice and knocked him down with it twice.
Yeah,
It's fantastic.
Very powerful.
And also good punch. He set it up as well with good combinations of the actual setting it up with punches. So he was throwing a jab and then a cross, and then he was using the cross to shield.
Yeah.
To shield basically what's going to come with his right leg.
this was a lad who had really good leg checks, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
He was checking the leg kicks quite well.
Very, very well.
Admittedly, everyone was wearing They were all wearing shin guards. So no one was bare shin.
No.
So, like in a Muay Thai fight, I would presume most people fight just without any shin guards, unless when they do.
Because their shins are made out of like iron.
Well, yeah, they condition
banana
it.
Trees and, like,
They condition it to have the same density as stone. So that's because the idea, like the way that your bones are constructed, they're like aero.
yeah, they've got hollow in them. But then when you crack them, you create something. It's a phenomenon called wolf bone, where it just basically shatters the bone and then it heals over and then makes it
recalcifies
thicker
it,
over time,
and then it basically takes the aero and then condenses it down into that very hard thing. That's why, like Muay Thai, like I've seen it where Muay Thai fighters, they can crack baseball bats with a kick.
Fucking hell.
And then they can crack a normal wooden one, and then they took like a maple one, which is an even stronger type of wood, and just crack through it clean.
He cracked 2 in a row. There was that one on that.
Oh yeah, there was one where he cracked 2. And I know that the a knee in the clinch from a Muay Thai fighter generates the same kinetic energy as being involved in a 35 mile per hour car crash. That's how much damage it does to you.
Jesus Christ.
It's amazing. Well, the human body is an insane output for just force. You know, an average human can exert 1 ton of force.
Is it a taekwondo where you can exert something daft like 1,500 pounds of pressure or something like that? They did like a measurement of kicks in taekwondo.
Yeah, they did. No, they did. The best one was capoeira. Yeah, because the way that we did it,
like, on the floor and you kick upwards, don't you?
Well, he put what he'd do is the capoeira fighter, he would post his hand on the floor and then he'd come up with the kick. And basically, the reason why it was so much more effective than any other kick was because all of his mass was shifted into the kick. So all of his mass, the only bit that it wasn't connected to as into the motion of the kick was his arm. Whilst all the other fighters, most of them still had their leg anchored, so most of their weight was going through the leg, the posting leg, rather than the kicking leg, whilst most of his mass was through the kicking leg. So that's why the capoeira fighter would be able to generate more force, because there's more mass. Add more mass, the more force there'll be. But then the speed is another component. So the faster you can make something go, the more kinetic energy it would be. So if you have loads of mass and loads of speed, you can have a massive amount of kinetic energy. Which is what we saw when some of those people got knocked out.
Yeah.
Yep. The generation of kinetic energy, clean on the jaw. Because you can only, like the jaw, apparently the average amount of pounds per square inch to knock somebody out is only 6 pounds. Like 6 pounds per square inch on the right position on your jaw will knock you out. No matter who you are.
This is accounting for the fact that you get hit square on, but people usually experience boxers roll with the punches,
and they'll shield as well, and they'll bring their shoulders
they'll
up,
absorb it, and they'll move. So you're actually reducing the amount of pressure that
you're decelerating the punch.
This is why, normal average Joe on the street, when they come up against a boxer, and you've seen those YouTube videos where they
get clean,
there's
knock the fuck
5
out,
people, and you just go, and they all collapse because they don't know how to take a punch. They don't know how to block.
I put it on the Instagram account where there was a bouncer in, I can't remember what fucking town it was.
That, yeah.
And basically these 4 lads were kicking off with this bouncer, and then basically this bouncer's like, "Nah, this is it. You guys are going to go away now." And he fucking 1 punch knocked one guy down, 2 punch knocked another guy down, 3 punch knocked him down. The other one popped back up, and then he knocked him down again. I was like, man, this bouncer, sign him boxing. The world of boxing needs to sign this bouncer. Could be called Gary the Bouncer Evans. I made his name up. I don't know what his name is. But anyway,
Where did that even?
he did.
Gary, the bouncer called
Gary the Bouncer Evans.
Gary. It's a
And
good
if you're
bouncer
listening,
name.
Gary.
Gary.
Of course, there's a bouncer called Gary.
Should we do the main event?
Yes, the main event. 62 kilogram boxing bout between Jack Galley and Jordan Marsden. First off, what a guy Jordan Marsden is.
He was deaf.
Yeah,
Deaf.
he was deaf.
I didn't notice that. I noticed it. I didn't know until he took his hearing aids off before he started fighting.
Yeah.
So he's stone. I don't know if he's stone deaf, but he's very deaf.
Basically, like if the ring's going off, he's like really got to be on the ball to make sure.
Well, he wouldn't be. His cornerman couldn't tell him anything. Can you think about it? His cornerman couldn't tell him like.
Would it just go in like by the side of the ring, just go?
Trying to sign stuff to
sign
him.
the
Oh
instructions.
no. No. But yeah, and then it was a brilliant, very technical fight, backwards and forwards.
Yeah,
very
absolutely.
technical fight.
Was it a second round stoppage?
I think it was a second round. Did you hurt your hand? Oh, you little
I said
baby.
a bad thing and I hurt my hand.
Yeah, you deserved that. You fucking deserved that.
Jesus Christ.
It was a second round. Yeah, it was a second round stoppage.
Yeah, it was his eye, wasn't it?
Yeah,
It was his
he's-
left eye.
His left eye might have fractured
Yeah.
his orbital bone.
Oh,
Yeah.
Because
not usually-
the other lad, what was the other lad's name? Sorry,
Jack Galley.
Jack Galley was. I mean, it was good backwards and forwards. I'd say Marston was beginning to. In the first round, Marston I think was winning. Second round, I think that's when Galley started giving him back.
Yeah.
I think that's where he found himself.
It did look like Marsden sort of gassed after the first round.
Yeah, maybe.
He did seem to run out a little bit when he came out for that second, and I think Galley saw that.
Yeah.
And he had, I think it was two good hits. There was a nice combination that he did, and I think that's when he sort of realised he was like, fuck, I'm in trouble here.
Yeah.
And there was a lot during the night where. In quite a few of the fights where one of the fighters realised they were in troubles, but the other one didn't quite capitalise on it. And I think this was the only fight one of two, maybe three fights of the night where the opponent went
in for the kill.
Yes, I recognise this now. And he went for the kill that first time and he got it. And yeah, it was a good fight to end on.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah,
I agree with that. I think some people are a bit disappointed with it.
Yeah.
With the fact it was a stoppage, that it wasn't like a knockout or anything like that, but because he couldn't answer the bell. He couldn't answer the bell for the third round, I think it was, because his orbital bone, like you could see it on his face.
Yeah.
It was starting to swell up, and I think you could see it in the structure of the side of his face was, it got caved.
When it's broken, like
Got caved in.
That was it, 'cause I don't think
it was a-
I don't think a lot of the crowd didn't sort of realise that it had been called until I think
till
Marsden started taking his gloves off, and then and everyone just sort of like, oh right, okay, it's gone. And yeah, there was a bit of a and an ahhing as to what, but then as soon as he turned around and you saw that swelling start, we went, oh yeah, we understand that's a good decision, very good decision.
I saw there's only one time I've seen somebody's orbital bone get caved in was when George St. Pierre fought Josh Koscheck in the UFC to defend the welterweight title, and basically George St. Pierre jabbed him so many times in the face that he caved in Josh Koscheck's fucking eye.
That happened as well in the Ultimate Fighter between Uriah Hall and that other.
Was that spinning hook kick?
No, that was
caved in?
Adam Sella. The fight after that, where he punched it, like he literally ran at him, and Uriah Hall just punched him, and he did cave in all of his eye.
Oh man, I mean that is obviously a concern when you're thinking about it, but that was. It was a very. I wish it hadn't happened that way.
Yeah.
I wish we'd seen all of the rounds because it was a 5-round one.
It was meant to be 5 rounds.
It's meant to be 5 rounds, so we didn't get to see the rest of it. And I think that would have been a really good back and forth battle, and that would have been the cherry on the top of the night. But I do think I really enjoyed it. Niko at the end obviously was thanking all the crowd and was the consummate gentleman that he is. Was very polite. Was very like thank you very much, and he announced there's going to be another Niko's Fight Night in 2018. We'd love to be there again because I'd love to cover that. I really enjoyed it. The everything was good. I mean, John Smith Stadium, good venue for it. I think it was a really good venue.
Quite decent venue. Yeah,
The bars were good.
Yeah.
Bars were good. Barmen were fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
The barmen were hilarious, and bar women, I should say, as well. They were very funny. Because they were saying, like, one of the lads I was joking with, and then the manager I was kind of having a laugh with as well. They were really nice, friendly people. This Cage Steel lads looked after us because we did our roundup of the night, had a chat with Dominic, and basically kind of spoke to some people, said goodbye to everyone, waited around for them guys to kind of finish up the event and get everything packed away, and then we went to the night sponsor, Cleopatra's Lounge.
Yeah, well, we finished up. Then Don and Alex were very generous in offering us a lift to Cleopatra's Lounge.
Yes, which we got lost in Huddersfield.
Yep. So we had both Google Maps and Apple Maps going that were taking us to two different places, neither of which were the place that we needed to be. But it did turn out when we finally went round one of the inner city ring roads, that brought us back round to pretty much where we were in the first place, and it was there.
Yeah, that was irritating. That was a little irritating. But yeah, we went there, and Cleopatra's Lounge.
Yeah. So we were under the.
That's where the spitting in the chin started.
We were under the impression that it was going to be a nice sort of little bar, nightclub kind of thing.
Yep.
It was a strip club, wasn't it?
It was a strip club.
Yes, it was.
Yes,
yes, it was. It was. Admittedly, the ladies there. One, they were all quite.
Yeah.
They were quite attractive, I would say. They were also very polite.
Yes.
Very polite.
Very polite.
Very, very polite. And I was like, one of the girls came over to me and she was talking to me for a good extended period of time. And then she went, "Well, would you like a dance?" And I went, "Well, no, thank you." And she was like, "Oh, okay." So I went, "I'm sorry, but no thanks." Like I was trying to be as polite as possible back to her. And then because she was asking me about the podcast.
Yeah.
And then, like, as at the end of the night, after we finished the drink...
They do ask you things to get you a dance out.
Yes, I know.
Yes,
I know. I 100% know that.
How's the podcast? Oh, well, it's great.
I'll
tell you about it. It's amazing.
Let me tell you about my life. Oh, yeah.
You pay me some money.
Yeah, no. But I obviously knew that was... I'm not that naive, Mickey, thank you. I'm not that naive.
But, because then as we were leaving, like, this was about... 20 minutes, half an hour later.
Yep.
Yeah. And then she gave us a hug at the end and was just like, "Oh, well, good luck with the podcast." And we're just like, "Oh, thank you."
I didn't think she would remember that.
Yeah.
I was like, she probably has scrubbed that from her mind and then is on to the next client.
No,
but she remembered. She remembered. She was actually one of the ring girls.
Yeah, she was. Yeah, all three of the ring girls were there.
Yeah.
Well, two of them were at least. I don't know if the third one was, because there were three ring girls at the event. The two of them were dancers at the club.
It's good. It's actually quite a good bar. They've got quite a good variety of drinks in there.
Didn't the bar
lady
ask you if you wanted that from the top shelf?
Yeah, she went, "Oh, do you want anything from the top shelf?" And I was like, "No, I just want some rum and coke." I don't know if that was a joke. I was like,
that might have been some sort of...
Yeah. No.
Do you want anything from the top shelf?
Admittedly, there was a top shelf that had some really good vodka.
And then she just said, "I'll need to get someone else because I'm not."
It could have been. It could have.
Someone else comes along. I can do stuff on
It
top
basically
shelf.
it could have been three things. It could have been, "Would you like something from the top shelf?" Wink, wink. It could have been, "Would you like something from the top shelf?" Genuine.
How did you say it? How did you say
it? Could have. And the third option was, "Would you like something from the top shelf?" And you go, "Yes," and they go, "Oh, by the way, that's like 40 quid," because it could have been expensive stuff.
Yeah, I thought it was. I actually thought she was trying to sell me gear. I thought she was trying to sell me drugs.
It could have been four things.
I was like,
you know what? It could have
fuck.
been. It could have been.
It could have been, but no. Up the top shelf there was like Ciroc and there was like Belvedere vodka, and they had some good stuff on the actual top
Cleopatra's
shelf.
Macedonian, by the way, but not many people know that.
Is she?
Yeah, she was Macedonian.
Is this one of those things where you're just trying to plug Macedonia? Did you know? Bill Gates is actually Macedonian?
Genuine, no bullshit.
Cleopatra is in Cleopatra, the
Egyptian princess.
The Egyptian princess.
Yes, Macedonian.
She was Macedonian.
Yep.
The Egyptians owned Macedonia.
No, we went over to Alexandria with Alexander the Great's time, and then some of us stuck around. So Cleopatra was one of them.
Oh, okay. So it was one of the settled Macedonians.
Cleopatra. I'm sure she was related to what's his name?
I don't know.
Alexander the Great.
Well, it's good to see that you're trying to plug Macedonia again. We should try and get like sponsored by the Macedonian like tourist board. Just visit Macedonia. You'll love it. You will love it. Actually, I enjoyed it. But I think that rounds off our night of Niko's fight night. It was really enjoyable. Thank you very much to Niko for having us, and also thank you for the Cage Steel lads for basically arranging all of this. And we look forward to being there on
the 2nd of December.
2nd of December. What are you showing me? Here we go.
The big question, is Cleopatra actually Macedonian?
Cleopatra of Macedonia or Cleopatra of Epirus was an Epirote Macedonian princess and later queen regent of Epirus. Fair enough.
Well, there you go.
There we go. The more you learn on the Gentleman's Debate podcast. I think we'll shift over to the world of mixed martial arts and boxing.
Yeah,
more widely.
Still on it.
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah. We'll as in switch over to the big events of the weekend.
Yes.
MMA first, and then we'll go to boxing.
Go for it.
So MMA, I saw that it was UFC 216. It was the main event, the fight between Tony Ferguson and Kevin Lee. Basically, you also all on the card you had Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson defending his belt against Ray Borg. Now, the reason why it's significant, that fight, is because Demetrius Johnson was going to, for this fight, he was going to have to the defense of the flyweight belt. He would set the record for the most defenses of a belt in UFC history and be basically regarded as the most dominant UFC champion of all time. And the way he won was the most fucking clear-cut way you could possibly do it. Basically, in the exchange he had with Ray Borg, the whole thing is that Demetrius Johnson is literally like a tiny guy, loves video games, but is exceptionally gifted of being able to basically fight. Because he is coached by Matt Hume. Matt Hume is a legend of MMA coaching. He wrote the rule sets for Pride. Do you remember Pride?
I remember Pride
FC?
yeah.
Pride Fighting Championship was a legendary mixed martial arts promotion in Japan. Basically the precursor to the UFC, a lot of people would say. He wrote the rule set for the entire Pride FC fighting rules, basically. And basically, Demetrius Johnson, he suplexed Ray Borg, and he picked him. So he had him in the. He had a body control of his back.
Saw this,
suplexed him in mid-air, transitioned to an armbarred Ray Borg.
Damn.
It was the most clear-cut way of finishing a fight I've possibly seen. The ability for him to do that was just insane. And Ray Borg, by the way, is a flipping Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. Like a very good grappler. Like his entire thing is grappling. So basically, Mighty Mouse dominated the striking exchanges, got him into a position up against the cage, suplexed him, armbarred. He's now defended the belt 12 times. So he's overtaken Anderson Silva. He's now going to be regarded as the greatest of all time. The GOAT, basically. Greatest of all time in UFC and also pound for pound king.
Damn.
Because you can't say John Jones is the pound for pound king anymore because of the drug, the PED stuff. So his thing is completely tarnished. The argument could be made that Conor McGregor could be pound for pound, but until he defends his belt or until he fights again in the UFC.
Against,
is there any...
Nate did it.
So
inkling about what's next?
I'll come to that with the Kevin Lee Tony Ferguson fight. What a barn burner that was. Kevin Lee, before the fight, he said that he had to cut 90. Basically, before the fight, when you have to cut weight to be able to get down to the weight limit to 155 pounds, which is the lightweight division's weight limit.
Yep.
And Kevin Lee before that said he had to cut 19 pounds. So 19 pounds of weight is a lot of weight. And then somebody went, "Isn't that a lot of weight, Kevin? Isn't that a bit too much?" And he went, "I'm not a bitch. Would you like to know what happened at the weigh-ins?" First weigh-in, he missed weight. He was 156 pounds. He had 1 hour to shed a pound.
Christ.
So he then shed a pound.
And that is one of the biggest shits he's ever had in his entire life.
Oh, Lord. I don't know how he did it, but he managed to shed that pound. So that
I just told you how he managed to do it.
You heard about medieval
Just chugging laxatives in the back.
Well, yeah. He might have... Well,
he literally... He ran off. He ran back in, took the weight, and was just stood there like, "Oh, shit, no, what's happening here?" Ran off and it's just like unloaded.
Oh, Oh, I hope that's not what Kevin Lee did. But anyway, so then he did make the weight, and then him and Tony Ferguson began to fight.
Okay.
Yes, and it was a good backwards and forwards battle again. Like this was these two had quite a lot of animosity towards each other.
Didn't like each other.
They didn't like each other at all. Yeah. But Tony Ferguson is I'll give you the understanding of why I love Tony Ferguson. One, his striking style is one of overwhelming you with just absolute savagery. He's the person who elbowed Edson Barboza. Edson Barboza is famous for the wheel kick knockout of Terry Etim. He's also famed for being one of the best Muay Thai strikers in the lightweight division. He elbowed him so much in the fucking face that Edson Barboza's face was just the Niagara Falls of blood, and then eventually took him down and then Darce choked him, which is basically, I would say, the Darce choke is like a rear naked choke, but from the front, like in a front headlock position. In the fight with Kevin Lee, Tony Ferguson basically got him into his guard and triangle choked Kevin Lee in a fantastic triangle choke. The reason why Tony Ferguson's ground game is so amazing is because his jiu-jitsu coach is Eddie Bravo. Eddie Bravo, the legendary 10th Planet jiu-jitsu instructor and creator, the guy who submitted Hollis Gracie?
Royce.
No, it wasn't Royce. It was Hollis Gracie or Rolls Gracie, who was a legendary Brazilian jiu-jitsu competitor. He submitted him in the ADCC World Championships. It was a massive surprise.
To submit a Gracie is quite.
So he was the first, basically one of the first to submit a Gracie. It was absolutely fantastic to see, and it was when he got him into the triangle position, he literally, you saw him, he clamped it on, got the legs locked like they should do, where you need to get your ankle basically as deep into the pit of your knee as possible. And then he noticed that Kevin Lee's arm wasn't in the correct position to choke him with, so he readjusted the arm, pulled the arm into the position so it would be underneath his neck. Then you've got the thigh down here. With the Tony Ferguson's thigh would be down here, so you've got the triangle action of it. Yep. And then what he did was he pulled his arms round Kevin Lee's head and pulled him in, so it would tighten the choke even further. And then Kevin Lee had to tap. So, and then afterwards, to talk about what happening with Conor, he said the amazing lines of, "Hey McNuggets, how's about you defend your fucking belt, you piece of shit? Vacate or defend? Fuck you. Fuck you." Live TV in America.
Really?
Yeah, he fucking lost it. Because obviously he wants to talk himself into the fight with Conor. Obviously he wants to do. I would want, because when you think about it, money. And also, Kevin Lee and Tony Ferguson were fighting for the interim lightweight belt. The lightweight belt is still held by Conor. So the only way he can legitimize himself as a champion is to beat Conor. But they're trying to make the trilogy between Nate Diaz and Conor McGregor happen, because that's the big fight. That is the big fight. And that's the one where Conor can probably get the next big payday. Because it's going to be a big fight, and then that's where Nate can get a big payday. And I would want to see that third fight. However,
you want to see him defend his belt?
I want to see him defend his belt, and should it be Tony Ferguson? I would thoroughly enjoy Tony Ferguson versus Conor McGregor. But I'd also thoroughly enjoy Nate Diaz versus Conor McGregor. Which would I prefer? In my opinion, I would prefer Tony Ferguson for a New Year's fight, because you'd get the fast turnaround for Tony Ferguson, who's already sharp, so he's already ready. He's already gone through a fight camp. He's didn't take too much damage in that fight against Kevin Lee, so you can have a quick turnaround for him. You can come off of the hype train of him fucking calling out Conor, swearing at him and calling him a piece of shit, and basically. And then Conor has rested well from the Floyd Mayweather fight. He's then got enough time to train ready for the New Year's Eve fight. And then they can put that massive show on. And then at the end of it, then you have Conor can fight Nate Diaz, because Nate Diaz waits in the shadows.
You've got to think as well, what if Conor loses?
If he loses, then Nate Diaz fights Tony Ferguson. And then that would be that fight between Nate Diaz and Tony Ferguson would be a fucking insane barn burner.
McGregor and Nate Diaz, the history they've got with the two fights, everyone would want to see the trilogy. So you'd lose. If you want to see fights, think of it as a promoter. How can a promoter make the most amount of money? So it's obvious it's going to be the
but that's the short term. That's short term gain. So because the way I'd put it is, Conor would fight Nate, and it would cost a shit ton of money for the UFC to fucking arrange any of that. But then the problem is, what's Conor going to do after that? He's probably just going to go, you know what, fuck it, I'm done with the UFC, I'm done. That's it. I'm going to walk it. He's going to ride off in the sunset, go back to Ireland, and that's it. So I would be like, you can either do that, or you can go for the long term and try and say to Conor, you must defend your belt against that. But the issue is the UFC doesn't have the sway to tell him what to do or not to do. Realistically, they don't really have. It's
different to the boxing.
Yeah, it's basically like he because he's so powerful now, and because he is the star of the UFC.
Yeah.
Because when John came back, everyone was like, oh, we got another star. The star is back. John is back. But then he fucking popped for performance enhancing drugs, and then he's obviously he can't fight anymore because he's probably going to be suspended for like fucking 2 to 4 years.
Conor McGregor
McGregor's got all the chips on his side. Because he did quite well in the Floyd Mayweather fight. He's the only star for the UFC. So he can say to the UFC, oh, all right, okay, well, I want $20 million, I want $40 million.
And they know they
have to because he's the only draw.
Make the money out of him.
Yeah.
He's the only draw right now. Who's the other draw? I cannot name another big draw in the UFC right now. Like, there's no one who's at the same level as Conor McGregor.
There's no one even close.
There's no one close. Because John Jones is... Ronda Rousey used to be. She's gone. John Jones used to be. She's gone. Brock Lesnar used to be. He's gone. There's nothing left. It's Conor. Conor is the last one. And this is the issue we got now in this WME when the people who run the WWE, the wrestling, they're called WME.
Uh-huh.
And basically they took over the UFC. They bought them out. This is the issue we got now, is that we've got this flipping era of people who run a wrestling show who don't know how to promote mixed martial arts and get the fighters, hype all the fighters and the champions and all the people who are rivaling for the champions and build them up. They're basically fucking just going for these freak show events to try and get as much return back on the money, because they spent like $4 billion on the UFC. It was ridiculous.
Damn.
Yeah, so now that's why, and I think short term that's a good plan. Just have Conor fight Nate, but then you're like, well, what's Conor do then? Because he's defended his belt then. He hasn't got anything else to do. The fight after that maybe would be, because you're having GSP, George St. Pierre versus Michael Bisping.
Is GSP back?
He's fighting Michael Bisping for the middleweight championship. And what's going to happen?
Bisping against is a bit of a draw, but he's a bit of a douche. No one like that.
Well, he's not that much of a draw compared to GSP, but then GSP isn't even that much of a draw compared to Conor McGregor. But what the issue, what they've said is, what they could have is they could have Bisping versus George St. Pierre. Then George St. Pierre said he can cut to 155 and he'd fight Conor for the 155 belt.
Oh,
that could be a big fight. But then that's it. I mean, like, you're really starting to clutch at straws now. There's not left.
They need another big personality to burst through. That's
Yep.
what they're saying about what's his face, the Geordie Shore guy.
Aaron Chalmers. Yeah,
Yeah.
but Aaron Chalmers he's only going to stay on the local circuit.
Yeah,
He's not going to get, like, because he's not
unless he does turn out to be some sort of
he hasn't
amazing warrior.
I wouldn't say he's got the
But-
he hasn't got the prerequisite talent that somebody like a Conor McGregor does.
Yeah.
And the reason why Brock Lesnar was quite good when he came from the world of WWE, because he was a fucking Division 1 national championship wrestler in America.
Yeah.
So he has this, and he genetically is just a freak.
yeah.
Massive fucking white guy who is just jacked to the gills, and it's just got that warrior killer mindset, that old Viking DNA of just murder people as much as he can, basically.
Yeah, that's him. Yeah.
So yeah, that's what we're dealing with in the world of MMA right now. So that was the breakdown there. What should we move over to the world of boxing?
Yes, and it's Tyson Fury has basically come out and said he's not
coming back.
renewing his boxing license. He's not going to apply for one again.
Sad.
Which, it is sad. I also think
He's a
for
good
the
character
time
for
being,
boxing. I think he's a good character.
I think for the time being, it's the right decision.
Yeah, he needs to get his head right.
Yeah, he
if he wants
absolutely
to,
does, yeah.
if he wants to do it in the future, he needs to get his head in the game.
How old is Tyson Fury?
He's only
30s?
27, 28, something
I
like
thought
that.
he was in his
No,
30s.
he's not actually
He's made
that,
bank,
that
to be
old.
fair.
Yeah, when he beat Klitschko. When
yeah.
he beat Klitschko, he made quite a lot of money. He made a lot of money then.
Absolutely. He's even said, hasn't he? He said, "Oh, I've made my money."
I mean, what's he got? He won the title. What's he got to prove?
Exactly. If he did come back,
He'd have to fight Joshua.
He
It's the only
would.
fight.
Yeah.
That's the only fight he
And
could do.
let's face it, I think even Tyson Fury knows he does not want to fight Joshua.
Yeah, I mean,
It
he's
could be a payday for him, but at the end of the day,
he's a very. The thing is that Tyson Fury is a very awkward boxer,
Yeah.
but the raw power of Anthony Joshua is an unstoppable factor.
So who's Joshua got to fight now?
29 years old. Joshua's fighting...
Wilder? Deontay Wilder?
He's fighting on the 28th of this month.
Is he?
Pulev.
He's fighting... doesn't matter.
Yeah, no, I think it's
matter.
basically a
Tune-up fight.
yeah.
It's a tune-up fight.
Pretty
We all know
much.
it is.
Yeah, that's on the 28th of this month.
The only person he's got as a real other person than Tyson Fury would be Deontay Wilder.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then
Besides that?
Deontay Wilder's
American boxer.
American heavyweight
Besides that,
boxer.
there's like no one else.
Not really.
No, not really.
Although Deontay Wilder, there's a sparring footage of him sparring David Haye. David Haye was fucking working Deontay Wilder. And David Haye's career's gone kind of a bit...
Askew.
Yeah, admittedly he's got...
Askew's the best way.
Yeah,
to
that's the best way to put
yeah.
it. So if someone like David Haye could put the work on Deontay Wilder, I think Anthony Joshua realistically would do that. I think he can clean out basically the
I think
heavyweight
that's
division.
his kind of issue. Is Anthony Joshua's got really no one to compare himself to in that.
Klitschko was the big challenge,
And he
he
cut through him like a hot knife through butter.
eventually.
Well, it was quite a hard fight, to be fair.
Klitschko gave him a good fight,
I'll
which I
recount
think
that.
was guaranteed. I think anyone who thought Joshua would walk through Klitschko, those people are idiots, to put it lightly.
Yeah, there's a reason why Klitschko was such a dominant champion.
Exactly.
And he only lost to Tyson Fury.
Yeah, but
whilst he was a champion, I should say.
that was such a strange fight. It's
an awkward fight. I think that's the thing. Tyson Fury has that awkward style that no one really knows how to fight. Chris Eubank Jr. was in action last night. He won. He knocked the fucking piss out of that Turkish lad.
Have you seen the highlights of it?
Yep.
How did you watch them?
Instagram.
Oh, right.
It's posted on Instagram. I basically saw the fight ending combination.
So
it was horrendously vicious.
Which round? Oh, do you know?
Can't remember.
Right. I'll have a look at the highlights later on.
Vicious.
I'll be able to get them up on Sky Go or whatever.
Horrendously vicious.
Good.
It was literally. It was a bit backwards and forwards.
We do like Junior.
Well, it was.
If we're talking about him, it has to come out.
Chris Eubank posted on his own social media about him like a chip off the old block, and it shows it where Chris Eubank Senior knocked out a bloke back when he was fighting,
right.
And then it played the knockout that Junior did.
Is it the same?
And it was pretty
Is that
similar.
on Eubank's Instagram? Did you say?
Yeah, it'd be on Instagram.
I am going to, whilst we're chatting away right now,
it was
going
a
to go and follow them on my.
It was absolutely vicious
my own
what he did
personal
to him.
Instagram.
It was but like the Turkish bloke did give it back to him.
Yeah.
Like he did give it back to him. Like it was an exchange, but it was an exchange that the Turkish lad did not come off well with.
He just couldn't.
It's very one-sided. Very one-sided in terms of the matchup. And then it was the world's Super Series or something like that. It's World Super Series of Boxing, which now Chris Eubank progresses to the semi-finals, which he'll be up against. I can't remember the other guy. This is the thing. Like in media, like a lot of these guys are drawing a lot of attention for me in the world of boxing. Apart from like a few people like Anthony Joshua, Chris Eubank, Conor McGregor's brought a lot of attention to it. You had the Gunny Golovkin Canelo fight.
Was it Borg? No.
Borg? No.
I don't know. I don't know where that came from.
But you had you had those fights, and now those guys draw quite a lot of crowd. But then you start to it starts to fall off after that quite quickly. And then Nigel Benn's son.
Yes.
He was in action, knocked out his opponent. Clean knocked him out.
Yeah, I've only seen one of his fights so far, but he was quite impressive.
He's very good,
very quick.
Savage fighter. He's like
he's
his dad.
fast.
He's like it's weird. They're both guys.
It's so strange though how I suppose it's not strange. People, it's not always guaranteed genetically, but obviously, yeah, because you see Chris Eubank Jr., who's just a mountain of a human being almost, and Conor Ben's actually is because he's lightweight.
He's a much lighter weight than Eubank.
Is that what he fights at, lightweight, or is he?
I don't know, because boxing there's so many different flipping weight categories.
Featherweight,
light featherweight,
flyweight, super lightweight.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
There's a massive amount of different ones, but basically, yes, Conor Ben obliterated a man with a right hand from hell. There's Gadoosh! That guy's head just almost came off. It's fantastic.
Yep.
It's good to see, and it's amazing how the genetics from two different boxing families have come down for the Ben and the flipping Eubanks. The genetics have come down. It's amazing. But yeah, that's our boxing and
yeah.
MMA
Yeah.
segment completely covered. Obviously, that was the main proportion of our podcast today, just because, well, we had so much involvement with it.
Just one last, just quick, big thank you to both Cage Steel and Niko's Fight Night for having us down. Really, it was a fantastic night. We really did thoroughly enjoy it, and we just can't wait to go to the next one.
Yeah.
It's just as soon as we got sat down at that table, we were just sat there ready and waiting for the punching and kicking to start. Really do look forward to the next one.
Yeah, that will be in that'll be December the 2nd. So, what we'll be trying to do with Cage Steel is basically trying to see if we can get any sort of discussions with them, trying to get any sort of interviews with them, and trying basically to make sure we can hype up that December 2nd card as much as possible.
Yeah.
We will be in attendance there as well. We'll be covering it again like we've done on our Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram channels. We posted a lot of stuff. We eventually figured out how to use fucking Instagram story and Periscope as well on Twitter. That was fucking hilarious. So it's just me photographing the fucking, or videoing the ring for about 5 minutes. But yes, we haven't got a funny news section today, ladies and gentlemen. There's a reason why. Because we're so funny anyway. What we'll do, ladies and gentlemen, is we'll round off now on the podcast. Thank you very much for your listening. We are live on our Facebook account, which is the Gentleman's Debate Podcast. The Twitter account is TGD_podcast. And our Instagram account is the Gentleman's Debate, all one word, lowercase. And it is goodbye from me, Simon.
Goodbye from me, Sam. We get to wave bye to the camera.
Yes, we do.
Yay!
First time.
Yay! And a thank you to Josh as well.
Wonderful Joshua Simpson,
would
who's
you like
behind
us
the camera.
To let us know, let the good audience know what your website is in case they want to have a look. Yeah.
YorkVideoPro.co.uk.
YorkVideoPro.co.uk.
Check him out.
Check him out.
Check him out. Ask him for work. Yeah, it's a shameless plug. Have you got any social media accounts?
Yeah. On Facebook and Instagram and Twitter.
Is it the York Video?
YorkVideoPro, yeah.
York Video Pro, ladies and gentlemen. Google that. Find him on the social media. If you want some really good video and photography work being done for yourself, please find our good friend Joshua Simpson. See you later, ladies and gentlemen. Peace out.